As far as a legislative update, we've got enough state representatives in this room, I think, as well as a state senator in this room, that I'm going to ask one or more of you just to fill us in on what's going on in Concord and what's going on in the Belknap County Commission. Whoever would like to.
I can't speak on the Belknap County Commission.
Oh, okay. That's true. Why don't we have the commissioners talk about the county commission?
What you guys all thought?
Thank you. I see some new faces here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is John Thomas. And if you don't want to know me, my name is Steve Netto.
My name is Ed Philpott.
It's ironic, we have just come from a county commission meeting, and it really was kind of slow because of the fact that we're right in the middle of budget. Right now, of course, as the representatives know, and many of you others know, we also have had a very good audit, a very, very good audit. We were very pleased. There's a couple of minor little operational and house cleaning points, if you will, but we have not got the finalized one, in other words, the legal one, if you will, on paper, but it is coming through, and it was a very good one. So we're very pleased that this county is in a very good operational mode. Some of you may or may not know that Belknap County is reorganizing as far as the type of model that we're going to be operating under. It started a couple of years ago with a previous commission, and it's working very well. We have, we're using more of a business model, saving money wherever we can as far as combination of positions, eliminating some, changing some from full-time to part-time. We have just hired a new finance director, and instead of finance over here at the nursing home and finance over here at the courthouse and finance here at the administration, it now comes all into one with a new finance director and his name.
I can't remember.
It just Waring, yeah, Mr. Waring, and he's very thrilled to be working for an entity of government that isn't what the normal person perceives of government. It's a government like smaller government like towns and counties have, whereas they have a task to do and they try to do that as efficiently and as cost productive as they can for the taxpayer. And so I think that I think he's going to be a very good fit with our present administration. So other than that, that's where we are right now. And of course, the members of the county convention, like Elida, will tell people what they're doing. Thank you.
Okay. I'm Elida Millum, and I am the chair of the Belknap County Convention. And the convention is composed of all of the representatives from all the different towns and districts in the county. And right now we're in the midst of two important projects, and one is to review the budget and approve the budget. We're just in the midst of that process, going through each individual department's budget, and then we're going to have a work session this Thursday, and we won't vote on the budget until the 7th of March. And we're also in the process of appointing a county attorney to replace Jim Carroll, who's become a district court judge. And we're in the middle of that process, and we have reduced the candidates from 3 to 2, and we're proceeding with that process.
When is that going to be?
We would like it to be tomorrow, but it's probably going to be on the same night as on March 7th. We'll do that, so that's what it looks like at this point.
Great, thank you, Jane Forrester, our state senator from District
2. I think 2 has less towns. I'll take that. Well, for those of you who don't know, I'm on the Senate Finance Committee, and I'm also on the Public and Municipal Affairs Committee. And we've been working in finance, getting informational briefings from all the departments before we start our work as a finance committee figure out how we're gonna fix this budget hole that we're in. Today there was we had a briefing from the New Hampshire retirement system. We learned, about that system and how that operates. Of course, the governor's budget will be heard on February 15th. That's next week. Public and municipal affairs, we're hearing bills as they come through. I'm sure many of you know, or probably all of you know, Senator Carl Johnson. And we introduced legislation to name a bay in Meredith after Senator Johnson and his wife. And that made its way through handily in committee, and it will be heard on the Senate floor next Wednesday.
Jeannie, any idea when the hearing's gonna be on the cap for nursing homes?
I haven't seen that. But actually, I'm glad you asked. There was one other thing I wanted to mention. There was a press conference today. I wasn't there for it, but in caucus yesterday, we discussed the education funding formula that Senator Stiles and Senator Roush have put together. And I believe there was a press conference today, and it explains this new education funding formula. And there are two parts to it. Won't even pretend to know all the details of it, but it seems like they've come up with a good solution. So, but I haven't seen that yet, Steve.
Okay.
Thank you. How about from some of our state representatives? Anything particular note that you'd like to fill us in about? Yes.
I'm Bob Greenmore. I'm from Meredith, and I work on the Education Committee. The Education Committee was split up between two different groups. There's the Policy Committee, and there's the Finance Committee. So most of the educational finance stuff we're not right now privy to because it's still in committee. A lot of the bills are being massaged through, so I can't really give you much of an indication on what's going on in finance. However, policy is the general principle of policy for the state has been that we want to get more of the education to go back to the communities and not be dictated out of the state. So there's a lot of bills coming out, and we're getting a lot of feedback from the public. We're getting a lot of pushback from the unions, but most of the bills seem to be very positive, and the reception has been pretty good. So basically, I think we're going to have a better organized system, and we're going to have better overall educational policy once we get all the bills through. So that's what we're working on.
Great. Thank you very much, Bob. Colette.
I'm Colette Warsman, and I am on the Finance Committee. We had spent a fair amount of the spring, a fair amount of January, speaking with all of the economists and a large number of organizations to give us some kind of input as to where's the economy, where's it going, where do they think we're going to be in the balance of 2011, 12, and 13, because as you know, we're working on the 12 and 13 budget, but 11 doesn't close until July 1st, and we'll see where we're at. Today on the House floor, we accepted the recommendation of the Ways and Means Committee to not spend more than they believe will be raised, and the number was, I believe, $4.422 billion is the number that they feel is a realistic, just right number of what they believe we can raise. We will raise in taxation and other revenue sources, and therefore Finance Committee is not going to spend one penny more than we're going to take in, and we are committed to do that. So, thank you.
I think it's going to be an interesting day when our governor finally admits that we have a budget deficit right now. Still waiting for that to happen.
Keep waiting.
Yeah, it might be. Any other legislative updates from other people who are on other committees?
Just an interesting point, I have never seen so many ITL, inexpedient to legislate, on so many bills this year. It's phenomenal. They must be running about almost 60%
What do
on
you attribute that
ITLs. That's a lot of the bills that are, in other words, they have no value. And they're being shot down very quickly each time, instead of letting them go through. Very, very unusual, just to see that.
Now, is this a product of
A
some
lot
of
of
the
the
freshman
bills-
legislators?
Yeah, a lot of bills are repetition. The people don't know the history, the fact that that particular subject has already been covered a dozen times, and they come up with new bills.
Sure.
That's where the ITLs are coming from. And what Colette said about the House Resolution 11 today, they specifically laid out a realistic estimate of income. That's doing it the other way around from what it's been done in the past. The other time you spend first and find out what you can get.
Sure.
So they finally got it back where it should be. And realistically, and a specific voted approved, that they will not exceed those numbers.
Good.
I thought it was an excellent start.
That's the way it should be.
I might comment that even though there was a lot of rhetoric from the other side on the overall, they did acknowledge that across the board, line by line, there was a very large percentage of approval. You know, they kept the folks in charge kept track, and you know, they'd say 97% voted for this. And the bill came out unanimous, including Democrats. They said that just before they came up with the predictable rhetoric.
That's interesting.
Felt like we're on the winning side today, for a change.
Yep. All right, well, thank you very much. If anybody, oh, Bob.
I have one more thing that
Yes.
I thought was kind of fun today. The House actually told the Attorney General that he should join the lawsuit against Obamacare. He's already had and said that he wouldn't do it. Legislation today was that he has to do it. So we'll see what kind of action we get from that end of it.
I've been reading a little
And
bit
there are
about
precedents to push it through.
Yeah, I've been reading a little bit about it, and I guess his opinion is that it's
Yeah,
unconstitutional.
it's going back to a constitutional committee tomorrow.
Right, right.
So once that gets through there, I think we'll see some pushback.
Sure. Okay. All right, well, thank you for the updates here, and in the future, every meeting, I'm gonna be looking for that, you know, I think it helps us all stay in tune. You can read all you want in the newspaper, but to hear it straight from the people who are on the floor of the House and the Senate and at the County Commission certainly helps.